Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our reaction and review for the Pitt Season 2, Episode 2. We've gotten through another hour of what is presumably going to be an awful, awful day for everybody at this hospital. And I do also feel like if you were expecting a lot of answers to the events of Episode 1 in this, maybe you're disappointed, but here's the thing. This show plays the long, long game here.
It does, but sometimes they will wrap things up within an episode or two. That baby thing, I really thought that we were going to get a few more answers to that at this point, and we got nothing, like complete squadoosh.
I still have no idea why Dr. Al-Hashimi was looking at that baby that way. Like,
No.
there's a lot of questions to have about her, but including one that comes completely out of left field in this episode, because we have a lot to discuss when it comes to her use of this AI-fueled app that she's talking about with some of the other doctors. And it's one thing to be talking about it in the moment when it comes to mapping out a chart, but then it's another thing altogether that she brings this up again within the same hour to Robby. Why are you so obsessed with this thing?
Yeah, she's really pushing it. Like, even after it's made a mistake,
Yeah.
a pretty large mistake, it is changing somebody's medication out, that she's still championing this thing to be like, oh, it's going to be a time saver. You just have to make sure there's no mistakes. And it's kind of like, well, then you can type it out yourself, and because somebody's going to have to go through it and double check to your recording that everything is correct and that the medications are correct and the treatment is correct and everything you said is correct. It's the same amount of time. This app isn't actually saving you anything if it's making huge mistakes like this.
Yeah. So why push it this much? It's because, tinfoil hat, you're in on it, Dr. Al. I think you have a lot to do with whatever is going on with this app. I think this is going to be a mystery / storyline we're going to be dealing with for a good bit this season. We are going to dive more into that. Plus, what's going on with Robby and this new character, Noelle, who's been brought onto the show. All right. Well, before we talk about any of that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be here throughout this entire season of The Pitt, breaking down what happened, sharing a lot of theories. We are all in this shift together. And if you guys are subscribed to HBO Max, then you should know A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the new Game of Thrones prequel, is premiering this weekend. We are also going to be here talking and having a really good time with that.
Absolutely. And Hijack just aired yesterday on Apple TV, and we do have a review here for our members. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined our memberships here at the channel. It really helps us out to be able to continue to bring videos to you guys by supporting us, and that way you can also get those reviews. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. We very, very much appreciate that.
All right, let's stay with the app, because that really is the biggest mystery to me. We know that Robby is going on sabbatical. He is only going for 3 months. It is not a very long time. Of course, you've got Dr. Al who's come in, who's like, I want to change everything and make all these different, you know, new, better things to the hospital. That seems completely normal that a doctor would want to come in and do things their way. It just is what it is. Yeah. But she's changing so much about it that I'm kind of sitting back being like, do you think you're replacing him forever? You're only here for 3 months. You're bringing in these patient passports. You're bringing in this app, and this app is really the thing. It makes me feel like she's going sort of from hospital to hospital to hospital, pushing this app because, like you said, she's in on it. She's got some sort of investment or something behind this app, because the minute that it changed somebody's medication, and the doctor caught her, oh, this isn't right. I mean, what are you talking about here? That was just going to go through. Oh, well, nothing is foolproof. Everything makes mistakes. You still have to just go through it. But man, it takes over like 98% of the work. It's like, but it doesn't actually take over any of the work, because then you have to have somebody sit there and go through it and listen to it and make sure it's all right. So what's your end game with it then at this point?
Okay, here's where a lot of it comes down to me. You talked about the idea about being an investor, and a lot of these tech startups in this current decade, they are being done by people in respective fields. Because the reality here, and I say this, I'll just throw my full bias out there into the ring here. I really dislike AI about as strongly as anyone possibly can. I am worried computers are going to take over the world. I'm only partially joking when I say this, but a big part of the reason why, and not just in creative stuff, I really dislike AI in general because you have all these people who don't really know what they're doing, trying to harness this technology that's untested and throwing it out into a world where there are real stakes and real life consequences. And the AI doesn't have to be held accountable because then you can just sort of sit back and be like, oh, it's just a computer. There are technical errors with all of that. But because Dr. Al is a doctor, she could come on board a project like this. She gives it instant credibility because she is a doctor. And
she's a squeaky clean doctor.
Yeah, with no litigation ever against her. And she seems to take great pride in all of that. So she's a perfect face for this operation. And yeah, if things go wrong, like they did with that particular instance, like she can go back and be like, okay, it's not perfect. It's a work in progress. But the idea, like you said, of her going from hospital to hospital, even if Robby is just gone for a few months, like this is enough time for her to come in here, do this big experiment with the Pitt where she gets people on this app. And this is another thing that's really scary about this technology, is that it can be a situation where it harnesses people in and then they don't think they can work without it, even if they work better without it. Like, it lies to them and makes them think that this is way more efficient than the alternative. Who cares if it doesn't actually know anything? It's a computer devoid of nuance or emotion. It's a situation where that may be enough for her. The stock prices spike up for the app. Maybe she sells it, she gets out. Like, there's just so many like nefarious things that can unravel because of this.
Also, information. Who out there wants your medical information on an AI app? Raise your hand. And I think there's not a lot of people that are going to be okay with it. Some people might be okay with it, and that's fine. Yeah. Everybody's got to be okay with whatever they want with their information. I'm not okay with it. No. If they came in and they were like, we're going to use this AI app to talk out all your information, are you okay with that? No, I'm not even okay when my dad is like, oh, I've got this picture of you and me when we were little. I'm going to put it into a paint app that's AI. And it's going to AI paint us. Yeah. No, Dad, no. Do not put my picture into this thing. Yeah. I don't want to be part of that, let alone my medical information. It is too much power in something that's not a person. And that's not even getting into any of the headlines that are out there that, of course, we're not going to get into of what's been going on with AI pictures, things that are happening that are out of people's control. Giving AI your medical information just seems like a very poor life choice.
Very, very poor.
And she's asking people, this is where I'm starting to feel like Dr. Al is not as squeaky clean as she comes across. She's asking people when people are already in the hospital in dire straits that need help. And so you're going to tell the doctor, no, that's a pretty low bar of people that are actually going to be like, you know what? I'm not okay with this. This woman was like, in crisis, could barely speak, and she's just like, hey, are you okay with this? Okay, great. Let's move it along.
Yeah, and
there's nothing good about that what she did.
No, the other problem is everybody will just assume this information is correct because, it's gone through a computer. Like, I'll just give a very silly...
People will get lazy about it for sure.
A very silly personal example to all of this. For a little while, there's AIs out there saying my birthday was in the middle of April for some reason.
I know.
And my birthday's in October. I don't really care that much one way or another, but if it can't even get that right, but because that's something people immediately see when you go online, everyone's just going to assume that's true. Everyone's going to assume whatever this app says is true. So here are all of the obvious problems associated with all this. And none of this tinfoil hat stuff for me would probably be happening if it weren't for the fact that Dr. Al brought this up to Robby at the end of the episode while he's kind of on a very, very tiny break, because it just feels like any normal human, like you said, the moment it goes wrong in an actual use case within the hospital, you're probably going to take a step back for a moment.
Absolutely. And she should be taking a step back. But for her to continue to push on after it has mixed up somebody's medicine. That is something that could really hurt somebody if somebody didn't catch it. And like you said, people do become really reliant on that stuff, that they end up becoming lazy with it, and they end up not checking it as diligently as they should, or if they were writing it in themselves.
Here's the real winner at this point of Dr. Al's presence on the Pit this season. It's Dr. Santos, who no longer has to be thought of as the most, at times, irritating character. It's just like, look, you're still not perfect. I still don't like that you call Javadi Crash all the time, but it's like, you're not as bad as whatever we're kind of assuming out of Dr. Al at this point.
I guess so. I still don't like Dr. Santos. They didn't turn me around on her last season. I was really glad that she took in Whitaker and was like, listen, you don't have to live in this room. Like, I got a room. You can rent this room. And now it seems like Santos and Whitaker are friends. Whitaker's like, yeah, we're friends now. So, you know, Huckleberry is fine or whatever. And Victoria's like, is it fine? Like, I don't understand. Friends don't give each other, you know, crappy nicknames, do they?
No, I've never been given a bad nickname. I've been given mediocre nicknames.
My son gave you a mediocre nickname, Uncle Moo.
I don't mind Uncle Moo. Uncle Moo has a little bit of endearing quality to it.
Even though my son can say Matt.
Yes, I don't understand. He just can't
Uncle
say
Moo.
Uncle and Matt together. But
no.
Yeah, I don't understand all of that. But, you know, if Dr. Al is as nefarious as we're sort of suspecting at this point, like, I would love for someone to figure all this out. But I mean, here is the problem, and the show's done a great job of mapping this out. Dr. Robby's got so much other stuff on his plate right now. I don't really think he has room in his head to actively think about this. He's going from, you know, one patient to the next to the next.
And he's kind of avoiding her. He doesn't want to deal with changing the passport thing, and then bringing in this AI, and then, you know, changing the name of the pit in general. You can't refer to it that. He's just annoyed at this point. Anytime he can dip out, he's trying to dip out. He's last day vibes right now.
He really is. And like, that is a good microcosm for everything Robby is doing so far this season. There is serious senioritis of him. And for those of you who don't know, that's when you're a senior in high school and you just don't really care anymore.
Right.
Like, he's taking care of the patients. Like, he's still doing his job when it comes to that. But yeah, there's the distance with Dr. Al. There's the idea that he seemingly just is trying to avoid being around Langdon for whatever reason that may be. He's got this situation with Noelle, who's this character we don't really know about before this season. She seems to be tasked as a nurse who's trying to assign people to rooms and move them all about. Like, the chemistry between the two of them, just in 5 seconds. Yeah, it's off the charts. Like,
it really is.
They tried to make this big deal about how, oh, you know, she's really good at reading this sort of body language. I'm not good at it, and I still would have been able to figure that out.
No, it was very obvious that either they've been hooking up or they're about to be hooking up. But it feels like they've been on the sly hooking up.
Yeah, anytime you go up to somebody and you're like, oh, you can call me Robby, it's like, okay, all right, you're not slick here, man. But it's just the way that they talk. But then the idea of Robby's sabbatical comes up again in this conversation, and she seems to be asking about, oh, are you really sure you want to leave right after this? Do you want to, like, come over, or maybe you leave tomorrow? And all of this suggests that he's still not even being that clear with her as to what's going on, his intentions, what he's really looking to get out of whatever this is.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen a million medical dramas where it's like, oh, the doctor is hooking up with the nurse, and all the other nurses are like, don't do it. You know, it's not a great idea. This is, you know, just walk away. We even had that here with Dana, who's just like, are you a big girl on this? Maybe this is not such a good idea. No, I'm a big girl. I'm walking into this eyes wide open sort of thing. But I don't think she is. For whatever reason, he's taking the sabbatical, which has not been made clear on the show yet. Just what we know of what's been going on with Dr. Adams, what happened with Pitt Fest. You know, some time has passed, but clearly he's still not doing that well, and he is taking this break. We don't know what he's going off to do. Is he taking a 3-month break to just take a break at home? Is he going away somewhere? Is he getting help somewhere? Is he getting treatment somewhere? Nobody knows what he's actually going to be up to at this point, and neither does Noelle.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a part of me that wonders, tinfoil hat, like, does Robby even know fully? Because this is what I do love about this character so much, and I do love this character. He's one of my favorites of anybody on TV right now, is that I think Robbie's a genuinely good person. Like, I do think he really wants to help people, but we don't see very often on shows of somebody who just fundamentally cannot crack themselves open, can't open up. He feels like he's going to be there for everybody for the sake of his job, but it just feels like he doesn't want to let anybody whatsoever in what's going on the inside. And like, there's this part of me that feels like he's going to go on this sabbatical. He's going to go on some, I don't know, spiritual journey. Maybe he's going to go wander in the woods for a week as a darkness retreat or something, but he's going to come back and he's going to think it's all better. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you haven't actually worked on anything. You've just done something symbolic that you think is going to help you.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like Robby needs to get some actual help on things. And maybe Dr. Langdon can be somebody that can be an inspiration in that way if he would just let him in. This is somebody who really struggled, who ended up, getting basically kicked out the hospital to go get treatment, is doing better, is on his apology tour, and is trying to be better at this whole thing. That's inspiring to look at, unless you're really still in your darkness, where it's kind of like, that guy, where it's kind of like, whatever. Yeah, you got better, but whatever, because you're feeling really kind of rotten about yourself.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And I think there's this other interesting question to ponder through all of this is that, Robbie's a really good doctor. He's good at helping other people. And it's a cliche to say, okay, is he good at helping himself? But I think he's very comparable to Carmy on The Bear to me in a way at this point, where, we saw on The Bear, Carmy, the amazing chef, absolutely terrible for his overall health. And, that goes where it goes at the end of this past season. But for Robby, I hope we're not going in this situation where he's going to come out of this and be like, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. Like, I don't think that's where we're going to be going at the ultimate end game of all this. But I am concerned that if he doesn't open up to Dr. Langdon, like he should, you're right, like he's probably one of the best people to talk with at this point, given like their shared history and what they've gone through. If he doesn't do that, I think he's in big trouble.
I think we're going to see that before the end of the season. I know Robby is avoiding Langdon every turn he can possibly avoid him at. And I think that some of it could have to do with the fact that Langdon got treatment and got better, and we've got Robby here who hasn't, and he's still feeling crappy about himself. And sometimes when you're in that miserable spot, seeing somebody who got out of it, can make you feel better, can make you feel worse. And so I'm hoping that they really have that talk, so that if Robby was taking this sabbatical and he was going off to, say, just spend a month at home doing whatever, 3 months at home, that maybe he'll look at getting some help instead.
I really hope so, because the nuance here is really interesting, where typically when we have conflict between main characters on shows, one of them is kind of presented to be the bad person or whatever. And I'm sitting here, I love Langdon. I love Robby, and I wonder, like, why are my favorites fighting? But it's because of everything that they have to unpack, but everything Robby has to unpack individually. And maybe, our good guy Sean here can come back as Jack Abbott, and maybe he can help at some point, but it's hard to say when exactly he's going to show up. We just know that he is at some point.
Man, I love Langdon. This story for him this season is really good. I mean, it's hard to see that his spark is kind of gone right now from where he was last season to where he is now, that, he's sober, he's on his apology tour, he's feeling very badly for taking advantage of the situation and the people that he really cared about that he's wronged, like Mel, where he's sitting down with her after everything that happened. She's getting hit on with this guy. What do you like to do for fun? Oh, I like to go to the Ren Fair. Girl, me too. And, she gets knocked off her chair, hits her head, is sitting in a bed, and you've got Langdon in there, making sure there's ice on the back of her head, making sure that she takes 10 minutes, dark room, all this sort of stuff to really take care of her. But also, hey, I really want to apologize to you too. You're somebody who was looking up to me, where I was, helping mentor you, and I really let you down. And Mel's like, you didn't let me down. Oh, well, you know what? I let myself down because I was your mentor and I wasn't fully here for you. This story for Langdon is a 10 out of 10. It really is.
Such good writing. Like the writing for Langdon this season's really, really good.
We loved you, Captain Scurvy.
But listen, I'm very worried about Mel and a number of different reasons. I'm worried that like there's some sort of long lasting? Can there be a concussion protocol here for
Yep.
what's going on with her? Because this is honestly what I'm worried about, is that we know Langdon's taking good care of her right now, but the problem with the Pit, and we saw this in season 1,
Hmm.
at some point everything is just gonna go in that
Right.
hospital. They're gonna scramble to need people. Mel's gonna run in thinking she can save someone, but because no one's gonna be there to have her back, I think we're probably going in this, I was about to say the teacher, but the doctor's going to
Hmm.
become the patient situation,
Yeah.
just because there's too much pandemonium. And that's added on top of the fact she's got this deposition, she's got this other thing she's worried about. So you're compounding an obvious head injury, just thinking about what we saw in the show as though it was real life.
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
really hit her head.
Yeah, like I would have gone home, or if I was Robby or whoever else, I would have probably sent her home at that point, just because, head injuries, you can't mess around with that stuff, and they're not always easy to diagnose or treat.
Yeah, not only does she possibly have a head injury, but she's already, before this even happened, like not fully there. She's not concentrating the way that she should be. She's
No,
not fully focused the way that she should be. Her head is off into this deposition. So, I mean, it's going to be a hard season for her.
it's going to be a hard season for her, and as we continue to talk about hard seasons, I'm going to throw something out there that would have genuinely shocked me heading into the
Mhm.
season. Is Javati going to get fired? Or is Javati not going to get what she ultimately wanted? Because we have this storyline that's been set up here with her, and, I'm never going to be able to say his name right, so I almost want to call him Dr. O or just Dr. Wildhair.
Ogilvy?
Ogilvy, I think that's it.
Ogilvy?
Ogilvy. So yeah, we have this guy who's studying under Whitaker, who kind of looks like he could be Whitaker's little brother in
I
some
know,
ways. They
yeah.
look very similar. He's just taller, but Ogilvy's apparently really, really smart, and we know Javati's really smart, and
Yes.
she's suddenly very worried that he's going to get this residency over her, and they've set up this competition. And on paper, it just seems like this comedic little runner, but I think this show is way more serious than that, and I feel like they're going to continue to go at it, even though Robby has basically told them not to, that this is not the priority. But she may get so caught up in being the best, because it seems like that's something that really matters a lot to her, that she could lose the forest through the trees and end up hurting a patient, ending up having something happen to herself. I think she's somebody who a lot of things have come not easy to her. She's worked very hard, but just
Yes.
because of her age and her ambition, she doesn't know when to slow down. And I think that
Yeah.
could be a problem this season.
Well, this is why I don't like Santos. It's one of the many reasons, but this is one of them. That by picking on her and getting into her head about stuff and planting things, they've
Yeah.
worked together long enough now that Santos knows that these things would really get under Victoria's skin, to the point that she may end up sabotaging her own job and like ending up losing this position. Like, Santos is just a nasty person in that way.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're here and you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to call you Crash. You don't like that
Yeah.
name, whatever. Okay, well, that's not setting her up for like a pretty major career fail. Like, I just can't get behind her. I really can't. I want to, but I can't. I know that there are Santos defenders out there. I am not one of them, because watching her unravel like this after she, Victoria's worked very hard to get where she is.
Mhm.
Yeah, her mom is like head of surgery or whatever. She could have whatever job she wants. She chose not to go that way. She chose to be in the ER and to pave her own way, to not be just this nepo baby, and to be like, I am here on my own merit. I am working on my own merit. I am going to get my job on my own merit. In comes Santos to be like, I want to stir the pot
Yeah.
here because, ha ha ha. And then it could cost her job, or could cost her a placement. Like, why do that?
Santos acts
I
like
can't with this character. I just can't.
she acts like it's the Real Housewives of the Pit a lot of the time, and she's
This is
just
people's lives and,
Yeah.
and their money, and to be able to like care for their families and stuff. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. She's a foil who I feel like is probably going to get some element of comeuppance eventually, but I don't think the Pit's really willing to rush any of that. I mean, we do still have a long season. I mean, we even have a season 3. Like, who knows theoretically when that would happen? But now we have to get into my love/hate storyline with what
Mhm.
is going on, and this is the Dana storyline, where she's got the new nurse in training who's come in, very sheltered. It's a little bit of a repeat of Whitaker, you
Yeah, it
know,
is.
from Sault Ste. Marie, very small community, not used to any of this. Like, all of that is fine. I do worry about this nurse because, you know, Dana's being pretty hard, just throwing her right into the fire. We have to get into, though, Mr. If it lasts longer than 4 hours, you need to contact the doctor, because I am pretty good at not being squeamish on these medical shows. Watching what was going on with the you know what in that operation, I screamed. I closed my eyes. I was just like, nope, I'm good. I do not need to see this.
Listen, the shock value on that was aces. The shock value, and listen, I'm a former funeral director, so I've seen maggots in my lifetime, and I never like it. However, the shock value that came from cutting open that cast and his arm just being filled with, I will not be able to unsee that, and I will not have good dreams tonight.
No, Dana's reaction to it as well, where she's basically, oh, it looks like you have some visitors. Dana.
Yo, I have seen my fair share of eggs. I've never been like, it looks like you have some visitors. Like, please stop.
Like, a part of me this is why I like Dana, because she's seemingly unfazed by just about everything. She's obviously seen a whole lot.
Absolutely. I have seen a lot in my lifetime as a funeral director as well that I will not get into here. But like, you know, that was, I didn't expect it.
No.
They got me. It was a gotcha.
They had a couple really good gotchas in this episode, but they've done a good job still, though, of mapping out these like gotchas or these conversation moments, because I do feel like the maggot scene, you know, Mr. Longer Than 4 Hours, like they're both going to be talked about a lot over the next week, but they still feel realistic in a way that's really bizarre, because Grey's Anatomy could have like really, really grounded mysteries, but I still don't take them seriously all the time, because you have people hooking up in a closet, and I'm just sitting here and thinking about like how sanitary that is.
Absolutely. And I like that that's not really happening on this show, that this show is really just looking at the medical profession.
Yeah, but we had so much interesting stuff within this episode. We're very curious to see where things are going from here. Let us know, though, in the comments what you thought about the Pitt season 2, episode 2. Do you think that Dr. Al is up to something a little bit? Let us know, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other updates. And as Jess said, be sure to check out our memberships if you want to see what we had to say about Hijack on Apple TV. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.